Welcome back, everybody, to Nain Shorts. Oh crap, I forgot my shorts. I had them ready and I left them at home. I'll describe them to you. They were blue basketball shorts. Little Nike swoosh on the side. Okay, that was stupid, sorry. Well, welcome back again to Nain Short. And today I wanted to talk about something that I think we need to talk more about in reference to training in general. And that is the word patience. First of all, let's get into a definition of what the word patience is. I tell my daughters that patience is the art of waiting. But something that was brought up to me as well that defines patience is tolerance. Now, what does that mean? Well, can you take enough of somebody to put up with them or put up with what they were doing? Because oftentimes, that's where we say we lost our patience, is when somebody irritated us so much that we lashed out or we said something that we later regretted. Now, that's different from the patience of just waiting somewhere, physically waiting for someone to arrive or for something to get delivered to you or whatever the case may be. But those are the two general ideas that we'll be playing with today, or trying to figure out how they work into the training modules, that whatever it is that you do in life. Now, in the Blade of Mind, we have a saying, it's one of our commandments, we do not strike first, but we will always hit first. Now, that doesn't sound like being very patient off the bat. But what it breaks down to on a philosophical level is that we do not start fights. So as long as we are not being attacked, we're fine with whatever's happening. We're not going to get involved, or we're not going to start a fight, start hurting somebody for no reason. However, if a fight were to be started with us as the target, then we're going to move forward and do everything we can to make sure that that fight ends quickly and in our favor. So it's very proactive in that sense. However, training is worst case scenario. We still have to work up until that point. It's not just going to happen out of nowhere. We have to work to the point where we can say, okay, I did everything I possibly could to avoid that situation, to get out of it. And that's where patience really plays a big part as a tool, not just for the application sense of it, but also for the training as a student and as an instructor. Now, as a student, I don't know about you, but me, I was always very eager. As soon as I thought I had something, I wanted to go fast and hard, and I wanted to move through it and get more and more ideas and physical movements that I can do and try. But I missed everything else prior to that. All the lessons that would have helped me move along quicker, I missed because I wanted to move so fast through everything. I was impatient when it came to receiving information. And the moment I latched on to one idea that I thought I understood, and it requires a lot of honesty to really look at yourself and say, did I get that correctly? Am I doing it? How often in your training have you seen something, you're like, I know what that is. You go and do it, and you're completely lost. Sure, visually, you understood all the things that were happening, but the moment you started doing, what does your instructor say? Stop, 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 or freeze. Why are your feet there? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And in your mind, you think, oh, I'm doing the exact same thing I knew, I understood. So as a student, we definitely need to cultivate a patience to be able to see the differences, to understand, okay, it feels one way, but it looked a different way. Which is correct? Are you trying to go for that comfort feeling where, oh, it worked for me? Or are you trying to look exactly like the instructor looked when you saw them perform whatever it is you're learning? And it takes a lot of patience to really look into yourself and see that. In the Blade of Mind, we try to get our students from the very beginning to move slow, relaxed. In our previous videos, we talked about the mechanics and how in order to feel and get the sensitivity of the mechanics, you have to go slow, relax. You have to breathe in order to get the sensitivity to know that things are working the way that they should. And all too quickly, we get amped up and we start going faster, thinking that our opponent's going faster, but when in reality, we're the ones that are adding more oomph to the movements. We're the ones that are speeding up. because we start getting so tense that we can't tell the difference anymore, which is why we have to go back and breathe and slow down. So then we're able to know, okay, that was me. I'm the one speeding up. I'm the one moving forward. I'm the one far too eager to get to the next step that I skipped so many before me. Now, patience then plays a huge part in your own development. But as an instructor, you need that much more patience, not because you know more or you should know more, but because you have a responsibility to your student to see within them what it is that they need. And if you're way too eager to show them the next step because they did so good in one part of what it is that you're showing them, then you might be doing them a disservice. You might be pushing them to a place where they're not ready to go because they missed so much prior to that. Can you see within your student, hey, they're kind of missing this, or they need more emphasis on that? More importantly, have you been teaching your student to do that for themselves? Can they evaluate themselves to the point where they can say, you know what, teacher, that felt wrong. That didn't feel right. Could you tell me what it is that you saw that will help me improve it? They're not rushing into the next thing. They want to get what they were taught right. Not visually. But again, it goes back to that sensitivity and that feeling, okay, everything worked the way it should. I felt no stress on my end. I was moving slow, but I was still able to perform everything that I wanted to do and accomplish the end result. Because ultimately, if you're training how to survive a violent attack, it's all about the application once you get there. Did it work? Plain and simple. If it didn't, you might be very severely injured. If it did, your opponent might be severely injured if the situation went that far. But until you try it out and actually test it, you won't know. And if you haven't cultivated enough patience to be able to calmly assess the situation and make sure that you don't go beyond what the situation calls for, well, maybe if that happens, it's going to be way too late to really assess that. So why not take the time, be patient about it, and train it throughout everything that you do. Now, I want to illustrate a few points now in reference to how that plays out into the applicable sense of patience, both the tolerance and the art of waiting. And I'd like to invite my Kuya Rick. Kuya Rick.
Hi, Rick.
I didn't even say that at that time.
I know.
It was
Just
late.
in
That
case.
was like the last episode, dude.
That was the last one.
Got it wrong.
All right, so what do you got going on today?
All right, so I'm going to give you some criteria, okay?
Okay.
Now, 3 moves. You have 3 moves to get me into an armbar.
To an armbar, 3 moves.
Into an armbar.
Are we going fast, slow, medium, or what are we doing?
Well, you're just going to have to wait and
Be
see.
patient. I have to be patient. Okay.
All right, folks. Have an idea. At this point in time, I already gave you the criteria. He has 3 moves to get me into an armbar. I'm going to be across from him, and he's going to wait. Okay? Now, at this point, I'm asking you to go through your head and figure out, what would you do in Rick's situation? How would you get me, the attacker, into an armbar? And what goes in through your head in order to make that process happen? All right? So go ahead and pause it. We'll wait. Don't worry about it. Okay? We good? You press play again? All right. So, are you ready for this, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You know the criteria?
Yeah.
Okay,
Do
so-
whatever I can to knock you down in 3 moves.
Exactly. All right. Now, I'm going to get into my stance. This is an aggressive stance visually. I'm ready for a fight.
Come on
Okay?
down.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. It's on my go.
On your go.
Go. Did you guys catch it? Did you guys see it? All right. I'm going to do it slower again this time. Okay? One more time. Are you ready? Okay? On my go.
On your go.
Go.
Okay.
Okay, so I know that seems silly, but what did I have to do first before he can do anything? Rick, Would you
You
mind sharing?
needed to throw an arm out at me or whatever you're gonna. You need to come closer.
I had to attack.
You had to attack. You
Right?
had to try to hit me.
Exactly. If we look at where I was standing, I can't hit him from this distance. Too far away. So did Rick need to do anything? No. Again, I threw a few hints in there. He was waiting. He wasn't acting on anything because there was no threat to act upon. Now, did I look menacing at the beginning? Most definitely. Anyone watching? Oh, that guy's ready for a fight. Now imagine, had Rick taken a posture as aggressive as mine, visually, what would you think? We're both ready for a fight. But I didn't do anything, which means nothing else could happen. Alright, that was fun.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. You have to be honest with yourself and really take the time to consider what it is that you thought. If you did hit pause and figure out what you were going to do in that situation, were you already throwing an armbar? Were you already doing whatever you could to get that person down and nullify the situation? If so, you might be a very aggressive person. You might need to learn a bit more patience because, again, until there was an actual threat, there was no need for Rick to do anything. All right, now we're going to do another situation.
Uh-oh.
And again, at this point, I will approach. I am going to bridge the gap between me and Rick, okay? And at the point that you think Rick should act, I want you to pause the video again. Pause the video and again, go through your head what Rick should do in that situation or how you would handle the situation. Now we're going to start a little further apart this time. And I'm going to aggressively approach Rick. Okay? I think this is a good distance right here. Yeah, I'm still on camera, right? Yeah, I think so. We'll figure it out. Okay, so you ready?
I am.
On my go.
Go. That's my armbar. You like it? You like that armbar? It's crazy, right?
I was not expecting that at all. All right. I'd like to critique that a little bit because I feel violated at this point. I don't know about you. I was walking aggressively towards him. Okay. But was I trying to hit you?
Nope.
I wasn't.
But here's the thing. I felt threatened.
Ha! There's the big thing. I was going within his bubble, within his space. Was I being aggressive? Sure, the way that I was walking could be deemed as aggressive, but I wasn't actually hurting him. Now, would you have broken my arm in that situation?
Oh, definitely. For sure. Along with a couple of other things.
Because it's me?
No, just because of what the situation was. You know, folks, you got to understand. This is not a choreographed thing. We didn't set anything up. We
No,
just
I
set
didn't
up-
tell him what. I gave him the criteria as I gave them to you.
Yeah, so I have no
Right
clue
here.
what's coming. So I'm going to act the way I do. One thing that people should notice is that I really waited a long time
I was this close.
before I did anything I wanted to do, right? And this is where that patience comes in.
Because there's two aspects to that.
Right.
The patience of physically waiting. He waited until I was this close. Now, did my body mechanics show any sense of me trying to hit him? No. But he wasn't going to wait for that to actually happen for him to act on the situation. Was he tolerant? He was, because he waited up until the last second, up until he knew for a fact if I moved, there was more of a chance of me actually hurting him.
Right. I mean, we hear the stories about the guy with a knife going, hey.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, okay, you're too close now.
Exactly. Now I'm within stabbing range.
Right.
And what did he do? He went for the thing that would do the stabbing, the arm. Hence, the arm bar. Because if you operate under the idea that there's always going to be something that they could pull out, especially if they're trying to get that close without showing any sense of posturing or
And that's why you have to.
Exactly. That was far more menacing for him in his mentality, because had I been doing this, it would have been a different situation.
Right.
But no, I was walking straight to him, aggressively at that. And at that point, right or wrong, he felt threatened. So he did what he had to do. But again, he exhibited a degree of patience that most people don't talk about when it comes to the actual application of things. Because what if he had lunged at me at this distance and gone for it? At this point, he is now the aggressor. Anyone looking on,
Yeah.
I was just walking towards him and he lunged at me.
Oops, my bad. I thought you were a serial killer. I did not know. My bad.
What? Hey, is that a creepy one?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
It's the
With the
mustache.
mustache? Hey. Anyways. But here we are. We're discussing now not the sense of what are you doing in the dojo, but the mentality that you're cultivating while training. This isn't something that happened. You've been doing security for
Oh.
how many years?
Too many.
Too many years.
Too many years.
So his has been on the job training. But if you have this degree of understanding,
Yeah.
how do you then pass it on to your students? So they don't act in such a way where their patience or lack of patience, got the better of them. And they ended up somewhere where they shouldn't be, or looking like the bad guy.
Right. Am I good now?
You're good. Sorry. Thank you. I ended
Bye.
up on the floor. I didn't intend to be. Thought he would just let me go, but no. Apparently, I look like a serial killer. So scary. He felt threatened. But that's what it boils down to, really. What are you developing? What sense are you developing in your training when you're doing all these things? When you're practicing all these things, when you're doing these techniques, oh, you break that elbow, you break the wrist, you dislocate the shoulder, you take this, you do that, all these knife techniques and stick techniques that are meant to break things and things like that. I mean, awesome stuff, don't get me wrong, I love training that stuff. But how useful are those things gonna be in a real situation? Unless your life is truly in danger, you shouldn't use any of those things, in my opinion. So have you cultivated enough patience, both in yourself and for others, which then would be tolerance? Because what if in those situations I had been running my mouth, I've been telling Ray, oh, you look like a Hitler potato head, your wife is tiny, you know, and I just start beating into him all these things that would hurt his pride, don't get me wrong, I know him well enough that some of the things I would say, yeah, it wouldn't be because I looked like a serial killer that my arm got broken, and it might have been accidental in the demonstration. But how much can you tolerate in a real life situation to make sure that you use sound judgment, that you use just enough force to get out of a situation so you don't end up being the bad guy in that particular fight, because it is that easy to flip from one to the other depending on who saw what and what you did or how far you went in that situation. So, how important is patience in what we do? I'd say it's pretty damn important, and it should be integral into every step of your training. All right, folks, thank you very much for joining me again on Nain Shorts. I hope you have a wonderful day. And now, 1, 2, 3, cut!